Victory is reserved for those who are willing to pay the price. A line that would definitely apply to any unfortunate soul that bought this travesty of a pay-per-view. I'm Charles Rentham with the retro review of Victory Road 2011. Yeah, not against all odds 2011. They were doing double packs to try and get any revenue going for their pay-per-views that nobody was fucking watching. And this was at a point where TNA was really trying to go hard and, make their own brand. They brought in Hogan and Bischoff a year prior, and they were doing Immortal versus Dixie Carter in the struggle for power, to control TNA. That storyline that worked in WCW for about, 5 months, and they stretched it out for what felt like 5 fucking years. They had the same parts, Hogan and Bischoff, and a bunch of other people, and a few young talents like Gunner and Murphy, Cracker Commander Riker now in WWE. Boy, this was a goddamn travesty and a piece of shit pay-per-view. All around, any of the good parts were just smothered by all the bullshit, the bad booking decisions, the bad finishes, the bad run-ins, everything. Everything about this pay-per-view is well worth ranting about. It is so catastrophically bad. From the opening match to the closing match, that infamous Jeff Hardy Sting, blow up where Jeff had no idea where he was at, and don't worry, I'm going to rant about that, but everything about this pay-per-view was so fucking bad. So bad. It was absolutely horrendous. We had a crazy video package with Sting clips, a scorpion crawling on a Sting mask, Hogan's group wanting to take over TNA, Dixie Carter, we're taking control of your company, and all that, and then clips of Jeff Hardy losing to Sting 10 days prior. I want to ask this much. I really do. Remember the whole thing that they were doing in WWE, 2/21/11, where they were seemingly implying that Undertaker was going to return and possibly Sting? Because there was a plan in place to bring Sting in and have him face off against Undertaker at WrestleMania 27, which would have added some much-needed spice, hell, any spice to that travesty of a WrestleMania. I wonder if Sting, by the end of the show, felt like, shit, I should have signed with WWE. Granted, they didn't use him all that well when he came in November of 2014 at Survivor Series, and then lost to Triple H, and then had that unfortunate buckle bomb incident against Seth Rollins. Not Seth Rollins' fault. These things happen. The moves shouldn't have happened, but it's not Seth Rollins' fault, despite what Bret Hart, my favorite wrestler of all time, says. No, Sting returned to TNA and then won a clown belt from a clown wrestler at the time, and if he didn't regret signing, I guarantee you he regrets, or at least at that point, he regretted signing very soon after. This was atrocious. And I understand why he felt a loyalty to TNA, and TNA did a lot of good for him and featured him well and paid him a whole lot of money. He got paid like $500,000, if not $750,000, just do TV and pay-per-views. And any of the house shows that he may have shown up at, like in high school gyms. Boy, I really wanted TNA to succeed. And now they're rebranded as Impact Wrestling, run by Don Callis, who doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, on air or off air apparently, if rumors are to be believed. I really did still enjoy the TNA product at this point, the weekly product, because WWE was on its goddamn ass. You had Raw, SmackDown, you had the pay-per-views that weren't all that good, WrestleMania was shit. Extreme Rules wasn't that bad. That was actually pretty much a turnaround point. Even though you had Over the Limit 2011, which I was at. The whole point of it is, wrestling was kind of on its ass, but more people were watching wrestling 10 years ago than watching now. You can probably pull everybody that's watching Raw, SmackDown, TNA, NXT, AEW, and they may not even equal exactly what, the audience that was watching Raw and TNA at this time. And I'm combining both of those, Raw, TNA, and SmackDown. Combine the ratings for those around this time in March of 2011, and then combine all those shows together. I guarantee you the ratings aren't even goddamn close. Yes, viewing habits change, but god damn it, this fucking pay-per-view. Alright, Tenay and Taz on commentary. Dreamer and Bully Ray. Falls Count Anywhere match. First, Bully goes on about the Hogan Bischoff regime taking TNA to new heights. Yes, new heights, like into a 7-mile pit that they have taken forever to climb out of, because Dixie Carter was a goddamn idiot, and Dixie Carter should have never been in charge of the goddamn company. Yes, as far as money, she did a pretty damn good job because she kept the company afloat, but as far as an on-screen character or anybody that should have had any creative input or anything at all, she was like Jim Herd. She was a female Jim Herd. Except Jim Herd didn't drive the ratings as low as Dixie Carter did. Again, viewing habits change, but god damn it. There's no way, for a while there was going to be no way that anybody was going to trust a woman to run a wrestling company when they should. Plenty of talented women behind the scenes, plenty of talented women in the ring that could do great things for wrestling. Dixie Carter fucked it up, and Stephanie McMahon pretty much finished the whole goddamn thing off. Anyway, Dreamer and Bully Ray. No, this is not an ECW pay-per-view at its height, or even before Bully Ray, Devon and Bubba Ray went to WWE. No, this was 2011, Tommy Dreamer and Bully Ray, and it was bad. It was catastrophically bad. Because they were still trying to continue this EV 2.0 afterbirth, and that's what it was. It was a fucking afterbirth. They couldn't use ECW, which made sense. I mean, because Vince McMahon owns a TV library. But was there a massive swell of support to use ECW originals or EV 2.0 originals? Was there a massive, swell to use them well past their prime? Bully Ray was a great heel here, but even then, he didn't have much. He wasn't really able to do anything. He definitely can't do anything now. He shouldn't fucking be wrestling at all. And they used a Minion plushie at one point because they're in Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida, just in case you need to be reminded that the Minions were part of Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida. It's not like TNA ever, advertised that they were in Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida, and Taz was confused. He didn't know what it was. I don't know why. Was he confused because he could look eye to eye with a plushie, and neither of them had any necks? Maybe he got some flashbacks. This was just so fucking bad. Taz was confused by a Minion plushie. They brought in a goddamn blow-up doll. What the fuck was this? Why? To what goddamn end? They were doing, they took it to the stands earlier. Dreamer couldn't even do anything. Thank God Dreamer isn't still wrestling. Oh wait, Dreamer is still wrestling in 2021. It is not up to me to tell people when they should quit, but this was really bad. Really, really bad. And we get an elbow to the blow-up doll just to further cement that anybody who bought this pay-per-view was a goddamn idiot. And I got this and a whole bunch of other TNA pay-per-view DVDs when they did a warehouse clearance sale back, I think it was like 4 years ago. And I got probably about $1,400 worth of merchandise for like $300. It was great for unboxing. I love doing the unboxing videos. But you get a bad foot on the rope spot. Not the only time the referees would screw shit up and there would be people out of position. Devon, this is for you, because Bully Ray had taken out Devon because they lost a match where they had to split up as a team, and then Bully went off as a single, and Devon's sons show up. His sons have been currently on AEW Dark Programming. They're called TNT. They should be on TNT at some point, even if you just get them beat, in about 2 minutes. They're big guys. It's amazing what 10 years can do. I mean, good on them for wanting to, take on their father's name and, carry on his legacy and everything and do tag team work. I wish them nothing but the best. Devon comes in from behind. We get a 3D through a table, and Dreamer covers 1, 2, 3. This match was shit, and it unfortunately wasn't even close to the worst thing they would be doing. Commentary runs down the rest of the card. Winter talks about not having an issue with Velvet, but Velvet having an issue with her. I want to say right now I love Winter, and Winter should have gotten more opportunities in wrestling. And the fact that she didn't was goddamn revolting, because she deserved a better opportunity in WWE. Hot as hell, talented, can do some, can cut some good promos. I'm not saying she's Mildred Burke in the goddamn ring. I'm not saying she's the greatest in the goddamn ring, but they could have utilized her better. And then, they're doing this whole thing where she's trying to possess Angelina Love and take over her personality, not realizing Angelina Love never had a personality and never will have a personality. She'll sound like a drunk aunt at a wedding trying to be sexy. And Velvet Sky, miss, I'm going to hop on every goddamn dick in the world to stay in wrestling despite having no discernible talent of her own. And I normally wouldn't say that kind of stuff, and I don't really care if I offend anybody. Velvet Sky never belonged in the goddamn ring. Angelina Love never belonged in the goddamn ring. You would think that two women that apparently were purported to being, pretty talented and have been in wrestling for a bit, you would think they would be better. No, they got infinitely worse. Yes, injuries pile up and stuff like that, and TNA wasn't paying their goddamn knockouts much of anything, so some of them had to get, second jobs. Because why would you pay these women that were part of some of the biggest drawing segments when the Knockouts division first formed? Hell, 2007, granted it was later 2007, but still, you had Gail Kim versus Jacqueline. Thanks, Derb. I'll never hear that the same way again. My best friend, the Durbinator, can't wait to be doing reviews with him again. But anyway, they had a great match at Lockdown 2007. It was short, but it was effective, and both those women can work. And then they had the Knockouts division formed. The Beautiful People thing, yes, they obviously, WWE ripped it off to do Laycool. Layla and Michelle, McCool, who, yeah, I got my own issues with Miss Blue Lives Matter Calloway, but enough of that. The whole point is it worked for a bit, because Angelina Love and Velvet Sky were smarmy bitches, and they were just being mean girls, but it worked. It worked to an extent, at least with promos. They couldn't do anything in the goddamn ring, and it fucking showed. Velvet having to put her lips on the goddamn rope to even stay in business, if you know what I mean. By the way, this match is for the TNA Women's Tag Team Championships, or the Knockout Tag Team Championships. They would be further sent into the goddamn abyss. No, not the wrestler, when ODB and Eric Young won them. Because why not? Why not go the full-on bullshit route? But they had Rosita and Sarita. Rosita, who later became Zelina Vega and is now Tia Trinidad Tobago. And Sarita, who cut a promo in Spanish, and the crowd, because some parts of Florida are extremely stupid, started chanting USA. Rosita and Sarita are supposed to be the faces, actually. But they were made the heels here. Angelina Love and Winter were the tag team champions. This was shit. This was really shit. Taz says at one point, I'm not listening to what they're saying, I'm watching them. I mean, Winter looked great. I'm not a fan, really, of any of the other women. Though I will say that Tia deserved a whole lot better than she got in WWE, fucking hell. That whole third-party bullshit was really bad. Everything about this was so badly timed. And it's not that these women can't work. Well, I mean, Angelina can't work, but 3 out of the 4 women can work. And the timing was so fucking bad. Angelina could not wrestle. Like, she was a fucking shits. We got a distraction, and Zelina's having to awkwardly hold the goddamn title like, it's a goddamn, I don't know, like a freaking 80-foot anaconda or something like that. And she's supposed to hit Winter. Winter won't turn around. Don't turn around. Uh-oh. And then Velvet finally runs in, stops Rosita, or I'm just going to say Zelina. She stops Zelina from using the goddamn tag title, takes it away, and then Winter rolls up Zelina. Well, then we get, Sarita, we get a roll up there, and we get Zelina pinning Winter for about 2 years, and she doesn't kick out. And this pay-per-view only gets worse. This is bad. Really, really bad. New tag team champions, by the way. Footage of Jarrett and Karen on their honeymoon, and the kids are with them because it's a family vacation, but also a honeymoon. And I'm reminded of why I hated Karen Jarrett, and I still do, because she was a money-grubbing, gold-digging bitch that should have never been in wrestling. Kind of reminds me of Deborah McMichael. She hopped from Kurt to Jeff. If her and Jeff are happy, that's great. Jeff had a really tough, a few years prior when he lost his wife Jill, or his first wife Jill to cancer, and cancer's a goddamn bitch, and it's a very emotional thing. When Slammiversary 2007 came around, he was doing that, and he took some time away, as he deserved, and he had to raise his kids, and it's terrible that the kids lost their mother. However, for this storyline, this was shit. I mean, I believe him and Karen were actually married at this point, or they were at least together. I don't know when they got married. But it gets worse. It gets worse. Matt Morgan promo. Why wasn't he used better? Seriously. Matt Morgan may have not been the best big man ever, but he certainly was athletic enough and had a great, promo. It had a great promo streak. He could do some really good stuff, and they could never pull the trigger on featuring him in the main event. Whether he would have sunk or swim as TNA champion, who the fuck knows? But they never gave him a chance. They would always do it, then stop. Then do it, then stop. Face heel. They would big show him. Paul White him, I guess, really, I should say. Cut to Bischoff talking to Hernandez. Well, footage of it. Then we get to Hernandez versus Matt Morgan first blood match. Oh, holy hell. We get recaps, and we get a few weapons, and we get, recaps of this whole thing going on, how these guys have been battling. And then we get a few weapon spots, including Matt Morgan almost trying to stab Hernandez here. And then we get big man stuff. We get a fan running in, and I'm not actually sure if it was a fan. They just factored it in, because they didn't cut to the fan being, taken out. I mean, except for security grabbing him and everything. So it was a bit awkward. The referee was seemingly down. I'm really trying to remember how this storyline went, but the referee's down outside. We get a chain punch. You can clearly see Hernandez blading intentionally on camera. I mean, almost to Ric Flair levels. It was hilarious. I mean, yes, cameras will catch that shit. Blading, yeah, it's a way to, juice things up, pardon the pun. But you can clearly see Hernandez doing this. And then he's got a giant squirt bottle of Kool-Aid flavored blood, which did not sell well at all. Oh yeah, oh no, Kool-Aid Man's a vampire, and oh god, my life force is done. not the movie Life Force. Fake blood, and it sprays it on Morgan to win. There's no cut, no nothing. It's sprayed on his chest. And Bischoff's son, I forgot his goddamn name. I don't even really care, but it was his son Garrett that would later, screw over Hogan and give power of TNA back to Sting and Dixie Carter at Bound for Glory 2011, which I retro-reviewed if you want to check that shit out. And despite the fact he had no cut, no nothing, cool. Hernandez wins. That was the first. If you thought that, other First Blood matches were dog shit, this may be one of the worst ones, at least on a mainstream pay-per-view. Generation Buck Me. I wrote that intentionally because the Young Bucks were not, the greatest tag team in the world like they are now. They cut a promo and one of the Bucks said to the other Buck, hey, help me win the title. The other one's like, no, I don't want to do that. The Buck style doesn't work for me. It works for other people. I am glad that they are able to raise their families well, and hopefully their kids grow up a lot smarter than the Bucks are, because, boy, the Bucks are goddamn idiots and birthers and pieces of shit. But they've done a lot for tag team wrestling. They've sent it further into video game land. Kazarian promo. He had hair. Kazarian, if you will. Robbie E. and Cookie. Remember the whole Jersey Shore thing they tried to do when Cookie called her J-Wow J-Cow for like, 8 minutes of a 2-minute promo? Yeah, it wasn't very good. And she said, please tell me you have vodka in there. I don't think she was the only person asking that. So, Max and Matt Buck, they took on each other along with Kazarian and Robbie E. with Cookie Ultimate X match for the X Division title. So the future greatest tag team in the world and the future Robert Stone are in this match, and Kazarian are there, and Cookie was shouting to Sherry Martel levels. The problem is that Sherry Martel in 2011 would have been better than Cookie here at ringside, and Sherry Martel died about 4 years prior to this event. I miss Sherry Martel. I'm glad she got put in the Hall of Fame before she passed away. And it was not good. It was not a good Ultimate X match, Ultimate X Division match, where it's not about Kuwait limits, it's about no limits. And it bumps into the trusses, which it actually looked like the Bucks really hurt themselves, so hopefully they're all right. Or hopefully they were all right after this. Flux capacitor, love that move. Kind of understand why Kazarian took it out of his arsenal, because there's very little margin for error there. But Kazarian, absolutely great professional. Got to meet him at an indie show, actually, a couple years ago. Really nice guy. Him and Daniels and Scorpio Sky, all tremendous individuals. And, yeah, Robbie gets a ladder, because you use ladders in the Ultimate X showcase, but Kazarian's bouncing on the ropes, and he gets the title and wins. Or retains. I think he was the champion at this point. It was at this point I was starting to tune things out quite a bit, in case you can't tell. So, we cut to more of Karen and Jeff's honeymoon. This is not pay-per-view material, and it was pizza time. Cowabunga! So, they made Jeff seem like a goof, and they made Karen seem like the Casey Anthony of Wrestling Mothers, is what I said. Maybe a bit harsh, but seriously, they made it seem like Karen was going to do something really, really bad if those kids didn't be quiet. Don't understand why they would do that. Beer Money implying they were going to tag team Christy Hemme. Christy Hemme was made the butt of a lot of jokes. And Christy Hemme really deserved a whole lot better. Definitely a lot better than, what Austin Aries did to her, shoving his balls in her face. But Austin Aries being a piece of shit, that's the only time, except now. Ink, Shannon Moore, and Jesse Neal. Whatever happened to Jesse Neal? It seemed like they were going to do something with him, and he left, and WWE didn't hire him. I mean, he could have stabbed somebody with his hair, because he had that giant mohawk. He was a former military guy, and I don't remember what branch of the military he served in. I do apologize, but credit to him for surviving it and having a career, in wrestling afterwards. He's one of many, but still, credit to him. It seemed like WWE could have done something with him. Maybe he didn't want to go. I don't know. They took on Beer Money, and... yeah, Rude and Storm. And I want to say right now, Beer Money and America's Most Wanted may be the two greatest tag teams in TNA history. Motor City Machine Guns are probably right there behind them. Who are your favorite tag teams in TNA history? Answers in the comments, please. Include Impact Wrestling, since they rebranded. Include them, too. They tried. It just wasn't really pay-per-view worthy. They did the Beer Money cheer. And then we get DWI on Moore for the win. And then Jesse shakes their hands. Moore takes a drink of James's beer, which doing that right now would have been ridiculous. So I don't think any of these guys, Rude and Storm are still in wrestling. I don't know about it. I don't think Jesse is, and I don't think Shannon Moore is anymore either. But he spits it in his face, and then they have an argument, and they have this kind of stuff. And I'm saving those notes for a reason, because I'm going to do something very bad with them. Styles versus Matt Hardy with Ric Flair. Matt with dreads was a choice. This is when Matt Hardy was not in a good place mentally or physically or in any way. And he's clean now, and that's good for him. God damn. Matt moved worse here than he moves now, and he's had a lot more spinal issues and everything. Ric Flair, this was when they were getting rid of the Fortune had left Immortal. Remember, Fortune 4? The new 4 horsemen that became like 6 guys because Dixie Carter couldn't count except the number of dicks she hopped on to get people into the company. Oh, that's a rumor. I probably shouldn't say that, but I don't know if you can tell. I don't really care for what Dixie Carter did to this company. So this was not good. Matt was in no shape to be on TV. Rick kept interfering. And they'd use a lot of rest holds to drag this thing out to nearly 20 pissing minutes. Spiral tap for 3. Despite the fact Rick tried to break it up. And, man, Rick and TNA was really sad. We did get the Jay Lethal Ric Flair promo off. That was pretty much the highlight. Styles and low blows Flair and leaves. More Jarrett and Karen stuff. And Karen gets wet on camera. Gross. Actually, everybody does because it was their version of Splash Mountain or whatever the fuck it was. I've never been to Universal Studios, so I don't know what the fuck the ride was. So, RVD versus Ken Anderson. Anderson, by the way, cutting a promo saying, assholes always finish first. Okay then. Also earlier he said that, that Dixie Carter got royally screwed, for control of the company. Wait, no, they really put the bone to her. Implying that Dixie had slept with talents to get them to sign. I mean, whatever. But, boy, they're just putting it out there. I guess Ken Anderson didn't give a shit. And considering how they flip-flopped him from face to heel and gave him 2 very short TNA title runs, I don't really blame him. I don't blame him at all. This was number 1 contenders match, by the way, and they could just not get, anything going at this point. RVD was totally checked out by this point. And I don't blame it. He's a former TNA world champion. You remember that reign that went absolutely nowhere because RVD, was never world champion material. He wasn't. He was a great TV champion in ECW. One of the best TV champions in history. And I'm including Jim Crockett Promotions. I'm including any other company that had a TV championship, though I think they're the only ones. But he was never world champion material, and because they went over on his dates, they had to have him never lose the title and had Abyss go full-on Leatherface and hack him up and everything. But then he was just fine, like a few weeks later. He was fine. He's totally fine, signed a new deal. He's fine. Absolutely fine. Logic. Anyway. We are assholes, chants. RVD. We are assholes. RVD. And then RVD was an asshole for bringing whatever the fuck Katie Forbes was back on television or on any kind of television. That was embarrassing. So, leg drop on the rail by RVD, and then Anderson targets it a lot. And then later, mic check on the ramp, and we get a double count out. For a number 1 contenders match. Restart the match. No. Restart the match. No. Restart the match. No. That's where the crowd was, and we still had the main event. Jeff Hardy promo. He was not well even with this promo, and it was pre-taped. It was very obvious Jeff was not okay. Big build-up for Sting, Jeff Hardy, graphics, all that. Jeremy Borash is in the ring to do the introductions. Jeff's music plays for like a minute. He comes out. He is in no shape to wrestle. Whoever made this decision, I don't know. I don't know if it was Bischoff. I don't know if it was Dixie Carter. I don't know who it was. Whoever made this decision to have Jeff Hardy out there, they deserved to be fined, suspended. Actually, they deserved to be fired for putting somebody out in that condition. Now, Jeff deserves just as much blame, though, because he'd been given chance after chance after chance after chance after chance after fucking chance, and he kept blowing it. Now, yes, he's clean now, and that's good. It is good that Jeff Hardy is clean now. And I understand that addiction, regardless, is a disease. But companies had to get to the point where they had to stop giving him chances. Yes, he completed a 4-month rehab and was back at Bound for Glory 2011, confronting Jeff Jarrett, and they did a redemption storyline. I don't really think he deserved, quite frankly, because all the stuff he did to his body and everything. Yes, travel is difficult. It's got to be tough to be on the road and stuff like that, but plenty of others have done it, and been given way less chances than Jeff Hardy to succeed, and they didn't screw it up like Jeff Hardy did. So, yeah, TNA shoulders a lot of the blame here. And Hardy shoulders 50% of the blame as well. Sting shows up, and when he's done doing his intro and everything, he's looking at Jeff, and man, if looks could kill, he'd be lying on the floor. Good old Heart song. Now it's stuck in my head, and I gotta not sing it. If looks could kill, you be lying on the floor. I said, baby, please don't hurt me no more. I screwed that up, and I heard that song in concert. Anyway, Bischoff shows up and says, slight change of plans since you didn't have a chance to prepare, since Jeff Hardy didn't have a chance to prepare for Sting. We're going to do a no DQ match. And he says to Jeff, just no, we're going to do this, and says to Sting, for the love of all that is fucking decent, please, Sting, we've been friends forever, pin the guy. Just pin him. Just pin him quick. And then Jeff keeps trying to toss his shirt into the crowd, and Sting gets right in his face. Sting would have been well within his rights to punch him repeatedly in the face and knock some sense into him. Like, I would not have blamed Sting at all. And they do quick scorpion death drop, 1, 2, 3. Crowd's chanting bullshit, and Sting's like, I agree. And at this point, I'm sure that Sting had regretted not going to WWE. Sure, he got paid to do stuff, and we got Joker Sting out of it, but Joker Sting was not worth this fucking bullshit. One of the worst pay-per-views I've ever seen, and at least in the modern age. It just was absolute dog shit. It would have been bad with WWE. WWE did an even worse pay-per-view, in my opinion, with WrestleMania 27, because that had a lineage of being the granddaddy of them all. There, you know what? There. That's all I gotta say about that. Fuck this pay-per-view and fuck whoever put Jeff Hardy out there, and fuck Jeff Hardy for doing that kind of shit. Though he's clean now. Good for him. Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.